Could have checked the audio levels, but now we got them better, so you'll be able to hear today's winner much better. All right, yes. And we do, by the way, nice night last night. Admittedly, when we released it, the Georgia Tech game pushed the total. We had the under, but a lot of you, especially if you bought yesterday, most likely you did have the under and went 2-1. Either way, our big play on the under in the NFL game won big time. We got a big weekend up. Friday, if you're calling by 5, we got I think a 5 o'clock basketball, is it? And then the 6 o'clock football. But we have a ton up for Saturday as well, including the CBS Total of the Year, ESPN Big Ten Total of the Year among 8 winners. Sunday, 6 NFL winners up, and we're now, I think, 10-5 last couple weeks in the NFL, including the weekday games. So get all that at offshoreinsiders.com, Joe Duffy's Picks. I do have a free winner for tonight. It is to go with Iowa minus the 13 against Iowa State. Iowa State's a bad team, and they've got nobody to match up with Luke Garza. He's the top player in the country, a lot of people would say. Iowa big man. Look, Jalen Coleman-Lands is the only decent athlete on Iowa State, and he's 6'4", and I don't know how he's going to, obviously, that's going to be irrelevant against Garza, but can he really match up with the speed of Iowa? Maybe he's about the only guy who could, but this is a bad Iowa State team. They were losing by 3 at home to Arkansas Pine Bluff. And if you want to go by Ken Palm, Ken Palm's pretty good. I think he's got Arkansas Pine Bluff rated 350 out of 357 Division I teams. I mean, they're one of the worst teams in the country. They were beaten at home by a middling South Dakota team. Now they're going to take on an Iowa team that's outscoring their opponents by 27.8 points per game. And their most impressive victory was their smallest margin of victory. They beat North Carolina by 13. That's tonight's spread. North Carolina's much better than Iowa State. Iowa State has no true point guard. Last year they had Tyrese Halliburton. Very good player. They haven't replaced his scoring. They haven't replaced him at all. They got a guy who's, not a true point guard. Iowa's going to crush them with speed and then beat them down low with the gross mismatch with Garza. So it's not like a case where they're, that Iowa State can game plan let's figure out a way to slow down Garza and we'll have everyone else beat us. Well, if they allow everyone else to beat them, believe me, Iowa will be able to exploit that because they've got the speed. It's going to be an up-tempo game. It's a high total. Lots of scoring. One of the dumbest myths in sports gambling is the old adage that take the double-digit dogs in big rivalries. That's pure balderdash. What I found that it means, in fact, I did a study a few years ago as it applies to college football. I even broke down, I took a sport, this was at least 10, 12 years ago, and I went with a sporting news article that came out and said, yeah, these are the 10 biggest rivalries in college football. So I said, all right, how did double-digit dogs do in those rivalries? And we found, not surprisingly, not very well. Now, it wasn't necessarily a big edge the other way. Haven't done that specific study in college basketball, but anecdotally, I'll tell you that maybe it applies when it's kind of like a one-way rivalry, not a one-sided, but a one-way. In other words, if you got East Tennessee State playing Tennessee, yeah, to East Tennessee State, it's a big rivalry game. Maybe not to Tennessee. Maybe there's a slight edge, but true rivalries, no, just the opposite. It means Iowa, the far superior team, is going to be focused for this game against an inferior team, where if it were a non-rivalry, yeah, maybe they'd be caught off guard. But because they are a rivalry, they're not going to be, and they've got no compunction. They run up to score. Remember, these are recruiting rivals, so what's better than saying, look, you're considering us, you're considering the other school? Man, we beat them by 30 last year. Why would you want to go to them? So that is a humongous myth. Not necessarily the polar opposite is true, but a slight lean towards the other way. Big favorites do well in big, true rivalries. Not like I said, the one-way rivalries, Davidson, North Carolina, stuff like that. True rivalry. So that is complete poppycock. And not that I've heard it really uttered all that much in recent years as I used to. When I first got started in this business in the 80s, that was regurgitated and it was totally false then. And it's even more false now. Anyway, your free winner again is to go with Iowa. All right, yeah, we finally sent away for a nice piece of software where we, have a little bit more fun, and maybe I'll start appearing on some of these videos. Look, I haven't gotten a haircut in a long time. I'm kind of, doing the thing to slow down the spread of COVID and whatnot. But, maybe we'll make the video portion, if you're watching on video, a little bit more interesting. But again, please support us. Give us a like, comment. If you're watching on Periscope, what do they call them? Hearts. If you're listening to the audio podcast, please give us a 5-star rating if you're listening on a platform that allows you to do so. It's your way of telling whatever, YouTube and iTunes and Stitcher. Look, this has good content. Please be nicer to them in search engines, and it helps us get more exposure. So again, appreciate that. Visit us at offshoreinsiders.com.